Yeah, let's go then. So, hi
Okay.
again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Club the Media. We are with Empress Shaala, the winning author of The Shining Black Girl. Thanks for being here with us.
My pleasure. I'm happy to
Yay!
be here.
For those who don't know, Club is a platform where we talk about representation, inspiration, and empowerment of Black, mixed, and people of color. So, really,
Mhm.
the idea is to share the success story, the interview with inspiring people who can share their story and talk about also their piece of art. So, this is what we are going to do tonight. Um, Tonight, the topic is all about raising your voice, telling your story. This is why we've got you here, Empress Shaala. So we are really blessed to have you here today. And the idea is to talk about the under the rug issue into the community. So we are going to talk about domestic violence, trauma, child neglect as well. So just doing a little disclaimer here, I shared into my page when I shared your story also some numbers that people can call in case they
Mhm.
know someone who is going under like domestic violence or any of those traumas. So they can reach. You've got the number for Spain, Europe, and the UK as well, because we are a European community here. So feel
Yes.
free to use those number as you need to. I hope you don't, but just in case, that was a little disclaimer before we start. So
Yes.
I'll let you introduce yourself before I start asking questions.
Okay. My name is Empress Shaala or K Shaala. I am the author of The Shiny Black Girl. I'm a mental health advocate. I also advocate for the safeguarding of children in terms of child interference and child neglect. And finally, I advocate for DV as well. So the book that I've written kind of covers those topics, and we'll get into that a bit later. But what it does is encourage people, and my main motive is to encourage people to talk up and tell their stories, speak out, and everything else is a win after that.
This is where we're gonna start today. So you are, I'm sure, an inspiration, and you're representing a lot of people through your book and through all the talk you're doing. So I want to start with like a little step backward to talk about like the problem, the truth, and the emotion. So I'd like to know, if you can share with the people who are with us today,
Mhm.
what part of your stories connects you with the book and makes you show up authentically today.
Okay. In the book, I put a disclaimer for legal purposes, and the names in the book have been changed, and some of the areas to protect the privacy of a lot of the people mentioned. However, I didn't make clear for legal reasons that I am the shiny black girl, and the book is about me. So, yeah, that is what connects me to the book. It's my story. Yeah,
Tiny
it's my
connection, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's my story. It starts from I think about 9 or 10, and then it takes you up to about 21, 22, and I'm in my late 30s now, so it's a while away. But I put it all in there, and every chapter has a purpose.
That's nice. Thanks for sharing that and for like revealing that this story is about you finally.
Yeah, visible.
um, I would like to know, why did you feel the need to write The Shiny Black Girl?
Hmm. Mainly because I kept being told to shut up about it. That's the whole thing with the under the rug, innit? You're told to be
Mm.
quiet, don't say anything, keep your mouth, however they want to spin it. But I was told to be quiet, and that's not, as a Gemini and as me, that's not something that we're able to do. You know, Donald Trump, Kanye West, they are all Gemini, so you can see that that's not in our nature. And then at chapter 12, it talks about my experience in the nut house. And that was like a big shame and something I wouldn't never discuss. But it kind of is part of the reason it prompted me to write it, because the person that put me in the nut house and one of the main characters in the book, put me in the nut house to discredit me going forward, so that when I decide to talk and tell my story, it would be not taken serious because, oh yeah, she does this, she's been there. But as I keep saying in these interviews, haha, I did it anyway. And yeah, and it
Hey.
feels good. People always say like, oh, if you talk up, you might get isolated or ostracized from your family. You might receive a backlash that you're not really willing to hold on, but it is so freeing. It is nerve-wracking at first. You don't expect, some people who you expect to have your back don't, and
Yeah.
some people you don't expect to have your back do. The weight that it takes off your shoulders is incredible, and it's such a heavy burden to bear all these years carrying these like trauma filled stories and not doing anything about it, that I'm here to say like on the other side, talk, because it feels good, it's liberating, and you encourage so many other people doing that, so you have to do
It's
it.
all about breaking this vicious circle, isn't it? That you're encouraged
Mm,
not to talk, but once you do it, you're first helping yourself, but also helping other people.
yeah.
And bringing back to what we are doing as well here at Club, it's
Mhm.
all about like on top of those under the rug issue as black mixed or people of color, we are so often told not to shrink, not to rise our voice like too often as well. So I could
Mm,
imagine that writing this book and telling your story must have been like a huge step. But
yeah,
it is a huge step that you're taking, but you're taking it for all the community, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a great start. Yeah.
I'm screaming. We get called black women, and I'm speaking specifically about black women. It could be all women, it could be black men. I don't really care. I'm talking about black women. So black women, we do get labelled as aggressive. We do get labelled as loud. We're told to calm down and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And we don't have to. There's a reason why when we present ourselves as we do, people feel away and find it so important to silence us and kind of squint us
Yeah.
down. Our hair even grows like this, and our personalities come out like that, and they can't take it. But they do copy it when they tell you not to do it. They'll copy your
Mm.
style, they'll copy your image and our sway and our swag. So keep doing it, keep talking. Yeah.
Definitely. And not even when it's becoming a trend, do it whatever it takes because even naturally we are beautiful. And it's a little bit like we are spreading like the sun. So let's just take the space. Is the thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, thank you for sharing that though.
no problem.
We're gonna move into the second part because I want to take. I forgot to mention it. If you do have any question, just ask them in the chat because we're gonna have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end of the interview. So feel free to
Okay,
ask any question that you want.
thank you.
So let's move to the second part, which is more about inspiration and your journey, your rising journey. So I want to know what were your inspiration and what empowered you to write the book.
Okay, the shiny black girl, the name is a term of endearment that I called my daughters when they were growing up. A lot of us black people, be it African or Caribbean, our memories and our childhood, when we're going to any kind of family gathering or special occasion, we get like literally greased up. Like the sweat bar, the oil, the cocoa butter, whatever it is, we get
Yeah,
like rubbed down. And you only got that scrubbing down when you were presenting yourself going to something special. So when my daughters would go to school or they'd go to an event, and I'd make sure they were all shiny and give them that aggressive slap down, they were the shiny black girls. And so it's very important when we talk about trauma or anything heavy or negative that we find balance, we find prevention, and we find solution. So I wanted to call it the shiny black girl to show that even though I delve into like a darker side of my childhood and some of my upbringing, I was still the shiny black girl. I am still the shiny black girl. So, and then the inspiration also was I didn't go through all of this for nothing.
mm.
So if I went through all of this trauma and all of this and that, and I got through the other end, I went to therapy, and I'm 90% normal. I also want to make sure that I benefit from it in different ways. So
Yeah.
I'm also getting paid off it with every book sale, and I also get my voice out and get to inspire others. So it's a win-win and a win for me.
how would you say the shiny black girl mindset that you just described helps you on your everyday life and helps you to overcome challenges all along your journey?
A great friend of mine, he is part of Max Nutrition, Shane. I was at an event one time with him, and he said, every time you interact with people, like it's like they walk away with something from you, like your energy. And I said, I'm not always like that. I'm very selective of who I give my energy to, where I go, and when I go to play, where I go, and when I go places. But when I do, I find that the impression you leave on people can be everlasting. There are so many people in times where life wasn't great for me, and I came across them and their energy, the respect they had for me, maybe the way that they looked at me or the life they spoke into me, that little time can make such a huge difference that I decided anytime I'm going to present myself to people, that's the impression I want to leave. So I am the shiny black girl. I now wear it like on a badge because people stop calling me Empress Shaala. They just literally refer to me as the name of my book now, even though the name is at the bottom. So yeah, it's just something that I've always done, and that's the reason for it. So that's how I present myself.
You definitely like get back the energy that you give into the world also at some point. This is why it's also like so important to like for people to raise their voice and to show authentically, because so many people have so many things to give. We don't like truly know, because we often told to shrink how special we are and how we can be special to someone at some point as well. So this
Yeah.
is why it's so important to do so. So bless you for doing it and for doing it also through your book.
Thank you so much.
So we've been through what was the problem, the underdeveloped issue, how you went through also like your inspiration and how you rose through your journey. So now I want to talk about empowerment. So for someone who is unfortunately going through the same that you're describing into the shiny black girl, what would you advise to them? What would be any tips that you would give them?
Okay, so let me run it in 4 quick categories because it's 4 separate issues that I work with. For domestic violence, there are domestic violence helplines in the UK and in France and in Spain, which Joe has provided. I think if you know someone who is going through DV, most of the time you can't tell them to leave. They're not going to leave. People have to leave at their own time. However, if you leave them in it, it could be quite detrimental to their safety. So it's finding a way where you can present yourself to that person so that they feel comfortable enough to let you know, and you can ease them out of it, but at their own pace. So that's the advice I give on DV. If you're in it, yes, everyone says leave or it might be your last day, but we leave, we come back. We leave, we come back. And every time you leave and you come back, you're in more danger when you come back. So leave when you're ready. Do things at your own pace, but please leave. Mental health, I always suggest shadow work on yourself. But they say go back to your childhood traumas and relive them. But before you guys lose your mind and blame me, do everything in a process or at a stage. So you might revisit one aspect of your trauma, and then as it starts to feel heavy, put it down and focus on other stuff and life and come back to it. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try and figure everything out at one time, but make sure you're actively throughout the year, throughout the months, picking at it bit by bit to unlearn and relearn, and like Sis Jo says, break the cycles. Now the other 2 are more near and dear to me because they involve children, and children are not often able to advocate for themselves. So here comes big me in a little body making myself clear. Child interference is one of the most traumatic traumas possible. Now, we don't need to compare traumas. There's different levels and it depends on who, but child interference messes up the wiring of the person's brain, and is not just the reason why we're walking around with so many traumatic adults, but it's also the reason why adults regress. So there's oftentimes you'll be talking to an adult who seems like they can hold an intellectual conversation, and another adult who is of sober mind acts like a child. And there's so many links to it, but I always say prevention is better than cure. So I do advocate for mental health. And I say if you've been through child interference, see a psychologist, see a counsellor. There's different types of therapy, art therapy, gardening, creative work, singing. But to talk for the children and talk about prevention, I'm going to say this maybe in every single interview. Telling your children, don't let anyone touch you here, don't let anyone touch you there, is outdated. Okay? Groomers already know that most people have those conversations, and what you need to, the conversations you guys need to have with your children at different ages and in different kid-friendly ways is the way groomers operate. So could you please start telling your children that groomers are going to say, if you tell your mum this bad thing's going to happen, or they're going to believe you, or it's your fault, or your mum's going to get in trouble, or this one might die. That is literally what they do and how they stop your children from expressing themselves. Can you explain to your children that grooming starts in small, uncomfortable stages? Groomers don't really walk up to children and put their hands in inappropriate places. It's usually come and sit on my lap, a little subtle touch, where you get accidentally grazed in an area and you wonder, was it an accident or was that on purpose? Let's keep a secret. Those, if you're really interested in preventing child interference and preventing a different level trauma, which is harder to break down, can you have these realistic conversations with your children and then also call out the groomers? Let's start holding people accountable. In the Black community, I'm going to say it, put us up here. In the Black community, we do not hold each other accountable. Everyone's got that pervert uncle that comes around on the family event, sits in the corner of the kitchen chewing. Some people are like, oh, don't put your kids around him. He's a little bit off. It's a little running joke.
It's the weirdo uncle,
And so there's a weirdo uncle. There's a weirdo auntie. There are weirdo children. Let me be real. You've got to really have these conversations, name and shame, and talk up, because that's going to stop them feeling so comfortable and so free to be playing with people's children. So that's that. And then the final one is child neglect, which isn't so heavy, but it's still very important. And I don't really talk much about it in the interviews, as it's kind of seen as the least important, but I'm going to throw it in because it is very detrimental. Child neglect often leads to child interference anyway, because if you're minding your child, they know that they're not supervised. However, as a big woman, I've been married 13 years.
I wonder which number you were looking for.
Right there. Okay, yeah, March is 14 years. I've been married 13 years. And thank you. What I was here to say about child neglect is that, especially, again, I'm talking about women, but it could be men might have a different perspective. I had a lot of things to learn when it came to being a married woman because of child neglect, which wasn't extreme neglect, but it was there. It's a light-hearted version of how child neglect affects you, but I'm sure everyone's got adult minds and can go a little bit deeper. So every time I come on, I'm going to try and kind of scratch the surface on all four of them. But if you want to get my full understanding of these topics, if you want to hear my experience, because who feels it knows it, on these topics with the names changed and redacted for legal reasons, you can take a look at the book. But at the end of each chapter, I also put what I thought then and what I know now, to show that there is a change of perspective. And if you feel a certain way about something you've been through now, later on, you're not likely to have that perspective anymore. And then finally, at the end of the book, I put 8 self-help tips for if you get coping mechanisms for if you get triggered through any of these traumas, because it is hard to sign up on NHS or private to get a counsellor, to get a therapist. So I kind of stole all of my helpful trigger coping mechanisms for you guys, shoved it in the back of the book, so that the generation of Black people going forward don't just hold people accountable, but we talk about prevention as well as cure, and we talk about solutions as well as problems.
To circle back to what you said at the beginning, I think like all you're talking about like child neglect is really back to what you said, like trying to shrink your voice. They are trying to shrink your voice and make you not telling your story. Because as soon as you like start to speak up and telling then your kids to start to speak up as much as you can in the respect that you can, because every experience is different as well. But really, it will heal generation after generation and break that circle to not make like adults who are carrying those trauma to their children then after that. So
Right.
it's really important. It's really important that we have those conversations and making those live together today. On that respect, I would like aside these 4 areas, what would be your tips for people to tell the story and raise their voice as you as not only
Okay.
like the shiny black girl author, but
Yeah.
as you as like as a speaker and
Yeah.
mental health advocate. Yeah.
Okay. So, first off, sometimes you tell your story or you tell what happens and it gets like so downplayed that you downplay it in your own head. And sometimes you feel like your story isn't worth telling. And sometimes people don't believe you and they don't take you serious. And that's usually the things that stop many people from talking. But whatever the reason, keep talking. Eventually, the right people are going to listen. Eventually, the right ears are going to hear. They say, who with ears shall hear and who with eyes shall see, you see? So your message is going to come across to the right person who's going to be able to help you and or be inspired by you. So don't mind those who didn't hear you when you were younger. You're big now. This is the time to talk for the little one, speak up for the younger one. I do have the opportunity for some people to go on my YouTube channel, Deep It with Kay, to tell their story in our relaunch where we're kind of mimicking the book and letting people verbally tell their story as opposed to with literature. So if you've got a story that you want to tell and you're out of sound mind to tell it respectfully, then send me a message and we'll see what we could do. But other than that, speaking out loud, I went to an event and I was with my daughter and the people, they asked all of us, can you come up and promote your product or whatever you're selling, what you're doing? And it was the second event I was selling my book at ever.
Yeah.
And I got up to speak, and when I was speaking, the whole time my hand was like vibrating, like it was going mad. My wrist was like coming off, so I literally had to give the mic to my daughter and lean over the mic to speak. And I don't even remember what I said. I just know that I had key points that if I was going to speak, I had to kind of summarize why it was for everyone. So I know I got it out, sat down, and then I ended up winning the Black Excellence Award for the book. And the main reason was because of the child interference aspect, because they said they don't hear anyone speaking about that. And that was really important to them. Thank you, Black Excellence and No Bravado's Trisha. So even when your voice is shaking, even when you black out and you don't remember what you were talking about, but you know you've got a point to make and you make it, just make sure you find the nearest person to hold your mic and speak, because that award that I won is not a little one that you win at sports day. It's a heavy glass one that I bring to all my events to show off. Yeah, and it did give me like, no, it gave me an extra like, yeah, you're on the right path. So when I write, I empower, I inspire, and people feel like they can relate, they feel understood. When I speak, people who are ahead of me encourage me and bring me forward, and the ones that are behind are also pushing me along. So it works out beautifully. Don't listen to your mind or your old mind, what you've been taught, to shut up and don't say anything, you'll make things worse. Or as some of my people like to tell me, don't open up Pandora's box, you're not gonna like what's in it. Well, Pandora's box was full of treats. Yeah.
And full of magic, I can tell.
It was full of treats. So, yeah,
No, thank you for that. I mean, with what we are starting here at KCLAB, like talking about stories, you know, most of the time we've been told like not to tell our stories because we've always like told to like not being too much seen, like to shrink. But
Mm-hmm.
everyone has a story to share in their own way. So, as you said, the most important is why you do it and what you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get to people. Even if,
Yeah,
as you said, your voice is shaking, you're not comfortable in front of a camera, it's
yeah,
all fine. The important
yeah,
is that you're showing up and that you start at some point. And
yeah,
with practice, it's all going to be all right anyway. And the importance is your message and how you're impacting the world with what you're trying to say. And
thank
yeah,
you.
you are really like being a representation for a lot of people, to be honest, just by showing up. So thank you very much
Thank
for that.
you. I
Really.
appreciate it. And well done to you speaking up for the and putting out the voice of Black women out there. That's important. So thank you for providing the platform for us to talk.
Thank you so much. I'd like now to go to your takeaway. What is the key message before we go to the Q&A session? What would be
Okay.
like your key messages? What is like really important and why it is important for you to share your story today with us at KCLAB?
Okay, so we're going to do a Q&A where people got to ask their questions. So if they want to put the questions in, that's fine. They could put that in now. Some key messages. Let's start with the DV side of it. I found when I moved to my first women's refuge that if they did have care packages to welcome the women in, because we're fleeing, we're running away from the house, sometimes no clothes, no bags packed. They would have shower gels, creams, little welcome packages when you come home, and they were never catered for Black women. The shower gels and the conditioners weren't made for our hair types. The body creams would dry up your skin
Yes.
worse than the water would. If you're of Muslim or Rastafarian faith, we don't eat pork. And so our cooking utensils in the shared kitchens would be used by people who, what we call our pork eaters. So we'd have to now wait. We'd have to order food or wait until we buy our own cooking utensils. And it's more complex than it seems, but because you have to really picture like fleeing
Yeah.
finding a new place. You've got to set up your money or your benefits or your new job. You don't have money for cooking utensils or ordering out. So I would like women's refuges to cater to Black women by catering for us, even with the little things. Have cooking utensils, pots and pans for Muslim and Rastafarian women who don't cook our food or our children's food with pork. Have hair care products and skin care products that are suitable for our hair and our skin. Just the basics you're providing for other races, you better start providing for us, or I'm going to start
Yeah.
talking. And then on that as well, I'd say, because we're tailoring to Black women, when the police come and knock your door and ask you to show signs of abuse, and you are a darker skinned woman particularly, there is no visual signs of abuse. A man would have to cut my skin raw open for you to see he hit me, because without this lighting, I'm a little darker than I'm even appearing to be. So if I got bruises, they're not showing. So if I'm talking to the refuge women and asking them for the little bit of catering, I must also be able to ask the police officers to be considerate when they make stupid and insensitive comments like, where are the bruises and where is the evidence?
Yeah.
That's something that I would like to advocate for. Mental health. Oh, don't read. Okay, chapter 12 of my book is my favorite chapter because it was the most. I'm just going to give you like this because I've never really delved into it. So chapter 12 is the nut house, and I'm not politically correct. I was born in the 80s, so you're going to get what I give you. It's the madhouse or the mental home, okay? And there was a lot of problems with that, the food they were giving. I could complain about little things, but let me tell you something. If it wasn't for my dad, who noticed when he came to visit me that the medication they had me on had me walking and talking in slow motion, today I would not be here. Without getting assessed by any doctors on ward round on a Monday, on the Friday I went in, and by the time the doctors came to assess my mental state to see if I was okay to go on about my merry way or have to stay there confined, I was already heavily drugged and heavily sedated. without a doctor's assessment.
Yeah.
And so if my dad didn't notice and say to me, don't swallow it, put it under your tongue and spit it out, by the next assessment, I was coherent enough for them to see I was of sound mind and to let me go about my business. But that's not what they're doing. You enter there, and before ward round comes and your assessment is ready for them to check your state, they've already dosed you up. So you're presenting null and
Yeah.
void. You understand? So that's a big thing as well. I want someone to look into that because I had a lucky escape, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are still probably in there now being assessed as having mental issues when they were given medication, and if you took them off it, they'd probably present themselves better than that. So I'll throw that in as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. I'm sure that all those like key insights can like also give another perspective to people who are listening to this live, to be honest, of that they can help also someone maybe to have another perspective on how they're doing things and how to seek for help as well. So thank you very much
So
for
I've come from the mental health services, the police, and the DV workers. So you might get this video
for
removed.
all of them. I need to be careful now because of you.
Okay.
Guys, if you do have any question on the live, feel free to ask them because there's like a tiny like question mark dot here.
So if you've got questions, you can ask here now. And if you're watching the video later, feel free to leave a comment and I might peek back and answer after. But this is the chance because we did let you know I was going to be here. You can ask now.
I've got a couple one for you anyway by the time that people are writing in the chat. So
Okay.
you mentioned that, how to say that? You are exploring also in the books like some part of like the black men relationship. Can you expand a little bit on that and how you approaching that theme?
I would love to. So I'm very different and I love being different. And so anything I don't like, I try to do something about it in the others. So there's a prayer and it off the dome, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change and the courage to change the things I can. So that's what I'm doing. To be honest with you, I don't like the way that black men are spoken about. And there are a lot of annoying black men and annoying black women. And yeah, they do a lot of stuff that get on our nerves. But generally speaking, I don't see the black women coming up and stepping up and saying, you know, these men really make a huge difference in our life. Now, first off, we wouldn't be here without them, most of us anyway, yeah? So we'll put that point big and clear. But also, as a British Caribbean, I code switch in my book. So sometimes my accent is Caribbean and sometimes it's British. And I like to show up and represent both ways. And so I decided to have a chapter called My Three Lions, which is a British saying. 3 chapters called My Three Lions. And that's my dad, my granddad, and my godfather. And I make sure that I express and explain the importance that of the role that black men play in black women's lives. Black men are nurturers. They are comforters. They are not just providers and protectors. And if you look at my book and see all the horrific, dramatic things that black men have, I've experienced with black men along the way, you might wonder how I was able to have so much love and so much admiration for them despite of, and it's because of the positive ones. So I make sure I dedicate a chapter to the 3 lions and I take the time to express what the impact look like so that those black men that are playing those roles will feel appreciated, will feel seen and heard, and know that their efforts are not going unnoticed. So it's really important that we talk about how they speak life into us and how they teach us. I got taken to my first restaurant and taught how to sit down like a lady and eat in a restaurant by a black man. My dad called me nothing but princess every time. My whole life. Can I quickly say, any dads listening, call your daughters princess, darlings, sweethearts, because my dad called me princess my whole life. No little skinny leg boy could come up to me and whisper sweet nothings in my ear and make me just fall for him because he gave me a little compliment. Because I was used to it. I was used to it. I knew I was a princess. I knew I was important. So when this any random guy come and tell me that, it never gassed my head
Don't
and
be
make me
nothing
fall in
less
love.
than a queen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate it when they say it. I'm like, yeah, thank you, I am. Yeah, that's nice. But when we don't, and not everyone grows up with dads. Some of us have uncles, some of us have godfathers, some of us have grandfathers. So whatever position you play as a man in a woman's life, please make sure from young you're speaking life into them and letting them know how important they are, so that someone's whatless son can't come and tell them and they believe it. Yeah,
Good
so yeah,
job.
if you
Thanks
want
for
more
that.
clues, go look at it and then see what other impacts they had. But they had good ones.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Because also sometimes I'd say that, and this is why it's so important to share those stories and those also like side of things, because society is trying to paint also sometimes some pictures that are not like everyone's picture. So it's really important to
Mm-hmm.
show every side and to tell every story.
Yeah,
So at least we can have like a full understanding of what's happening, and sometimes it's more beautiful than dark, and luckily
yeah,
so.
yeah. There's some dark parts. I have my trigger
Can you
warnings in
turn
there. I
it?
have my trigger warnings, yeah, some dark parts, yeah. Some people tell me that some people read the book and they say like they couldn't put it down. They thought they were going to read a chapter a month and they couldn't put it down. Some people, they're like, I got to chapter 4, I had to take a deep breath, I had to put it down. I had to wait till I had a like hot drink and then sit down and
Yes.
read it again. Because you're going to laugh a lot because I'm very funny.
Mm.
I am. I might not seem it on the live, but I'm hilarious. And then you're going to cry because, like I said, I talk up now. I say what needs to be said. In sometimes I just talk straight, so it's
Mm.
it's very strong. The book is strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Question for you, and I'd like to ask if you're okay with that. How does shadow work and spirituality played a role on how you raise your voice right now, and also being part of how you're writing this book?
I feel
Okay.
safer now. I've learned that there's a time to talk. You kind of want to talk about things that are private and vulnerable to you in spaces that you are sure is safe to. And you
Mm.
never really know. But so I went from just talking to anyone who would listen, and luckily for me, I was resilient enough and waited till I found the right people to learn
Yeah.
from. But I would say, if I didn't do the shadow work and the spiritual work, I would have repeated a lot of the cycles that I experienced in my childhood onto my own children,
Yeah.
and they would have to write their own book. So,
Oh my
uh,
days. Yeah.
right. I also don't think I would have been able to maintain a relationship, a healthy marriage for 10 plus years if I didn't do the shadow work and the spiritual work. I call myself the Christ loving Rasta
Mm.
for a reason. And I believe that I started doing grounding recently. I told you the other day.
Ah, yeah.
Amazing. And that's new to me. But I'm open for trying different things. So I'd say try what works for you. Some people like gardening, some people like talking therapy, some people like listening to music, some people like a few different things.
I'm a
I
journaling and yogi person, and yeah.
You know what I like? I like putting bath salts. Like I had
Mm.
to put like so many different Epsom, magnesium, lavender oils. That kind of just try different things that are different forms of therapy,
Yeah.
and some of them are going to stick, and it's going to help. It's going to eventually help you. You're not going to expect an overnight change, but it will be beneficial to you, and then it will be beneficial to the relationships that you're able to grow, because we don't want the old version of ourselves to maintain relationships on those standards, because our boundaries change and our standards raise, and so we have to
It
kind of,
evolves,
yeah,
definitely it
we've
evolves.
got to be,
Yes.
yeah. So we've got to do the work until we find who we're comfortable with, and then move according. So do the work. Don't just sit here and be bitter. I could be telling you guys, oh my God, read the book. And my life was so hard. You never hear what happened to me. No, I'm good now. Yeah, I'm good now. So read the book. understand and get your clues, get your gems from it. Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks for those tips. That's really nice.
no
Thank you so
problem.
much. It's time for your promo time, so you can decide how to read an extract of the book and
Yeah,
tell us what. Send us
I'm going
like
to do
all
it.
your Instagram handle, like read an extract
Thank
of the book. It's
you.
your promo time now.
Right, so I'm going to run off and sort out my kids. But before I go, I'm going to give you like a 3 lines, yeah, of the book. But it's at the Shiny Black Girl. So follow Deep It with K.
Yeah.
The link is in the bio for the book. So the extract I want to read is it's page 28, and it says, I had my very own Jimmy Savile grooming me until I had my first child and sensed the danger she would be in if I stayed around. He wasn't interested in me anymore. I had passed his age of interest. Did I mention his main job was a social worker? So, yeah, that's all you're getting for free. If you want
That's so
a
amazing.
copy, 15. If you want a signed copy, it's 18. Unless you see me in person, then it's free for a signed copy. I will be at the Barbican, and I will also be at, so I've got the Black British Book Festival and the Black Book Festival and Education Expo, which are 2 different things,
Amazing.
one day after each other. And I'll be at an event on the 13th. Follow Max Nutrition to find out where I'll be next month.
I can share
But
it in the story after the like no worries at all, and I'll share also like the story that we created together, so everyone can have your Instagram handle and the
yes,
link to the book
thank
as well in the
you.
meantime. No, it's my
Yes,
pleasure,
yes,
really.
yes.
Thanks for being here with us, really, and thanks for everyone watching this live with us tonight. It's
It's
really
been a
amazing.
pleasure. Thank you for
Really,
having me.
thank you. No, it was my pleasure. The live will be available as a replay on YouTube. So if you have any question to ask, you can put it in the comments. Me and Empress Shaala, we will answer all your questions as much as we can. Go follow the Shiny Black Girl and Deep It with K on Instagram, and follow us at KCLAB the Media as well, because we're gonna have. Here's the book. Here's the book.
Talking about it, no, sorry.
The book link is in my link to bio, and of course into the Shiny Black Girl bio link into Instagram as well. So go grab your copy as well, guys, because yeah, it's amazing, and it's amazing to have you here as our first Instagram live at KCLAB.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Club Media. Thank you,
I wish
Joe.
I wish everyone a nice evening. Thank you so much again for being
Have
here.
a good evening.
Lot of love. Cheers.
Bye, baby.